So, let's dive into Lars von Trier's film Melancholia. It is this hauntingly beautiful movie where the world is about to end. But the real story, it isn't just the apocalypse. It is the deep philosophical war raging underneath it all. A battle between two totally different ways of seeing reality, and which one you would bet your life on when everything is about to fall apart. Okay, so the setup is just terrifyingly simple. There's this rogue planet, and it's called Melancholia, and it's on a collision course with Earth. So we're not talking about a possibility here, we're talking about a statistical probability. In those last moments, with absolutely everything on the line, who do you actually trust? And that's the big question the movie forces on us. Do you put your faith in the person with the telescope, the charts, and all the data, or do you trust the person who has this chilling, unshakable feeling, an intuition that they know exactly what's coming? But you know, this tension, it's not new, not at all. It is a battle that has been raging for centuries. And to really get it, we need to jump back in time and look at two absolute giants of intellectual history. So, on one side, you got Isaac Newton. For him, reality was all about calculation, hard facts, and cold hard reason. Breaking things down to analyze them. But then on the other side, you have the poet and scientist, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and he argued for a totally different approach, understanding the world through its wholeness, through intuition, through synthesis. Newton famously said, hypotheses non fingo, which means I feign no hypotheses. Basically, what he was saying is, if an idea couldn't be directly proven by observable facts, it had no place in his world. If you couldn't prove it with numbers, it was just a story. And this ancient divide actually has a name. It's called the aesthetic-noetic distinction. So the aesthetic way of knowing, that's all about intuition, your gut feeling, your senses. The noetic way, that's pure reason, pure intellect. And this philosophical engine is what's driving the entire conflict in Melancholia. So, this old-school battle between calculation and intuition, it doesn't just stay buried in history books. It naturally creates two very, very different ways of trying to see the future. You have got science, and you have got prophecy. And think about the difference here. Scientific prediction is fundamentally changed to the past. It needs old data, statistics, patterns. It needs to see something happen over and over to guess what's next. Prophecy, though, claims to be something else entirely. It's a vision that comes from a different place, maybe from innocence, maybe madness, or just pure, unfiltered intuition. It doesn't need the past at all. Okay, so let's bring all of this back to the movie, because this is where it gets really good. We get to see how von Trier takes this abstract philosophical war and brings it to life through his characters, his symbols, everything. There's a scene early in the film that's just a perfect metaphor for the whole thing. A gigantic limousine gets stuck on this tiny, narrow country road. The limo, it's a symbol of modern tech, of reason, of order, and it's made completely useless when it comes up against the raw, untamed path of nature. And the characters, they're basically walking embodiments of these ideas. You have John, the scientist, right? He trusts his telescope and his math completely, and he's the very first one to break when his data turns out to be wrong. Then there's Claire, the bourgeoisie, who's terrified of losing her comfortable, orderly life. Her son Leo, he's the innocent. He just finds peace by trusting his aunt. And then there's Justine, the prophetess. And the film asks this really fascinating question with her. What if her deep clinical depression isn't just an illness? What if it's a kind of terrible clarity, a state where all the illusions of normal life have been stripped away, letting her see the end with this bizarre, calm acceptance? You can even see this conflict in the art they choose. It's brilliant. In one scene, Justine angrily gets rid of art books featuring Malevich, a modernist artist who is all about celebrating machines and progress. And what does she replace them with? Works by Bruegel and the Pre-Raphaelites, artists who looked back to nature, to myth. It's this powerful symbolic rejection of the whole modern rational age. Okay, so here is something you really need to know to get Melancholia. You have to see it as a direct answer to another masterpiece, Andrei Tarkovsky's The Sacrifice. Von Trier actually dedicated his previous film to Tarkovsky. So, this is a deliberate conversation happening between two absolute legends. And the contrast between them is, it's night and day. Tarkovsky is an optimist. In his film, the world is saved by an act of faith, a return to nature. He believes in salvation. Von Trier, on the other hand, is a deep, deep pessimist. In his world, there is no hope. Humanity's fate is just total annihilation. The end is absolute. At the end of the day, both of these films are pushing us beyond the sci-fi scenarios to confront the one apocalypse that we are all guaranteed to face, our own mortality. How do we, as creatures who can think and know things, deal with the knowledge that we are going to end? You know, the philosopher Hegel had this really profound take on it. He argued that the ultimate test of being human isn't how we live, but how we face death. He said that looking it in the eye and really grasping it, to hold on to what is dead, as he put it, that requires the greatest strength we can possibly imagine. As the writer Unamuno pointed out, the tragic part of life is that we're the only creatures on Earth who know we're going to die. It's like we're all stuck being Prometheus, the forethinker, the guy whose name literally means to know in advance. Our tragedy is that we can't be like his brother Epimetheus, the afterthinker, who only gets things after they've already happened. Our knowledge of the end is our greatest burden. So, if you don't have faith in an afterlife, what's left? The playwright August Strindberg offered this idea, this more secular view of immortality, that maybe we live on through our children or through the things we create. As he says, it might be the only concept of immortality that has any real tangible reality to it. Which brings us right back to the film's final moment. John, the scientist, is gone. His telescope is just sitting there, totally useless. That illusion of rational control has been completely shattered. All that is left is Justin, the prophetess, and Leo, the innocent child. So what do? Do they look through the telescope one last time? Nope. Instead, Justine tells them to build what she calls a magic cave. It's just a simple, almost primitive little shelter made of a few branches leaned together. They completely abandon technology for ritual. And that is the final haunting question the film leaves you with. As this giant planet fills the entire sky, they just sit inside their fragile little cave, holding hands. So, when all our science, all our calculations finally fail us in the face of the ultimate unknown, what actually gives us more comfort? The cold hard truth of reason, or just the fragile warmth of a hand to hold?